Welcome to the Global Business Insights podcast, featuring your hosts, Dr. Charlotte Brabant and Max Kent.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Global Business Insight podcast. Today with our special guest, Steve Judge. Steve, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. It's so wonderful to have you.
Oh, it's lovely to be here. It's lovely to be invited. I'm really looking forward to sharing my story and helping your audience, your listeners, to be inspired, motivated, but to go forward in business or whatever their goals are. I just really want to share and help. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yes, we do have an audience represented in Europe, North America, Asia, so quite global so far, hoping to expand. But Steve, maybe just as a little introduction for our listeners today, maybe you could just say in a few sentences, give us a little bit of your background.
Oh my goodness, I've got to cut it down to a few sentences. That's difficult, but I will do my best. So where do I start? Let's just say the story takes from wheelchair to world champion and beyond. I had a near fatal car accident back in 2002. I was told that I may never walk again. Now, from that point onwards, I set goals and I worked towards them. First of all, to grow my leg back by 4 inches, to stand again, to walk again. Through rehabilitation, setting those goals, eventually I wanted to get to the point of getting back to normal. I realized that there was no such thing as normal. So I had to think about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. I kept on setting myself goals, physical goals now. And now getting into swimming, cycling. Eventually I found this thing called a para-triathlon. So triathlon for disabled people, which I am because of both of my legs. I competed. I became a British champion, which opened new doors and new opportunities. Now representing my country, Great Britain. I set myself goals, became European champion, eventually became world champion, 2011, Beijing, China, grabbing that gold medal and achieving my goal. So where am I now? I'm now a global, international, professional speaker, empowering people to achieve the life that they want to live. For me, it's about completing the circle. For me, it's about making something good out of the bad thing, the accident that happened all those years ago, and empowering people to do what they want to, whatever that is. And it could be anything. It could be academics, it could be their environment, it could be their love life, it could be their career, their health, wealth, happiness. Surely happiness. If I can help people to be happy, then that makes me really happy. And so that's what I'm on a mission to do. And I'm always thinking about what more I can do, whether that's speaking, whether I've written books, done workshops, and speaking on podcasts is a really good way to get my message out there. So that's why I am here today. And again, thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to share my journey.
Thank you, Steve.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. It's amazing you got that into a few sentences.
Yeah, thanks.
So just on that note then, could you just tell us a little bit more about that journey? So how you became a world champion in the para-triathlon, that's incredibly inspiring. I'd love to hear more about that. And then that transition from athletics into entrepreneurialism and motivational speaking, and where we find ourselves now, where we're from the business world speaking to you. How did that transition take place?
So yeah, becoming British champion, that was my main goal, my first goal. But like I said, the opportunities open up, and it's very much about opportunities being around us all the time. Once you know what you want, then the opportunities are more aware. You've got to see them, you've got to hear them, you've got to smell them. And when you do, you've got to grab hold of them with both hands and do something about it. But you've got to know where you're going. So setting my goals, become, the elite athlete, world champion 2 times running. When it got to 2014, I decided that I was ready to retire. A lot of people said, are you going to carry on for the Paralympic Games? And there was something inside me that just wasn't there. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I go through a lot of pain when I'm training, when I'm competing. So I have to weigh it up with the pleasure and pain. And I'd achieved so much, gold medals, trophies, accolades. And I just thought, no, I'm ready for the next part of my journey. And people said, well, what is that? And I said, like I said, I want to give something back. I went back to scouting. I'm now a Cub Scout leader. I'm now president of Derbyshire Scouts, giving back to the new generation with fun, challenge, adventure, life skills and opportunities, the badges that you get down those arms. Do you know what? Let me just share this. The first 3 badges that I ever got in scouting were swimming, cycling and running. So for me to become a world champion in swimming, cycling and running just shows me what you can get as a child with planting those seeds. So I do that as scouting, and people said, what else are you going to do? And I said, it's like a Superman pose. I said, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. And people were like, wow, that's amazing, Steve. How are you going to do that? And I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to do that. But I'd worked out by that stage that if I wanted something enough, then I'd find a way of doing it. And that's what I started doing, going out on the circuit, speaking, sharing my journey, getting a buzz, getting the accolades from it, realizing that there's a lot more to speaking than just being confident and having a great story. It's about the skills. And I built those skills up year after year. With tenacity and commitment and feedback, getting all of that on board, learning about stagecraft, interaction, about the highs, the lows, the comedy, the humor, all of that, building it into something, creating something very much like a piece of art. And this is why I am 8 years later now as a successful business owner and global speaker, encouraging other people to achieve their dreams. And so that's where the transition comes, because I think, wanting to become a world champion, that's what drove me through those hard training sessions, wanting to empower people, wanting to be on that stage, that big stage. That's what, drives me forward in my business every single day. I don't mind jumping out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I get a buzz from it. When I'm actually speaking on the stage, to me, that's not like my Christmas morning. My toes tingle when I wake up and I think, oh my gosh, I get to do the thing that I want to do, that I love to do. Going on the stage is very much like being at the start line of, competing in the world championships. It's something that I've trained up to do. It's something that I'm really excited, nervous, same thing, different words. It's as simple as that. So yes, I'm excited. Yes, I'm a little bit nervous, but I like to say excited more because it's more positive. And then I do my thing and I get a real buzz from it. And so, yeah, I think that's where the transition comes. It's about knowing why you want to do those things.
Wow, what a fantastic answer. And I think this transition, when I listen to you, it very much resonates with what the mind can perceive, it can achieve. Yeah. And whatever you envision yourself and manifest, putting it out there, and nothing should stop you. And I love that this whole notion of inspiring our next generation of talents, giving back to the next generation, helping them on their journey. I think this very much resonates with us.
Yeah, absolutely right, Charles. And I think a lot of people, they do focus on what they want to. Well, I've done some research. A lot of people focus on what they want to avoid rather than what they want to achieve. Only 20% of people focus on what they want to achieve. So the opposite would be, they'd say, like, I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be unsuccessful. I don't want to be in a job that I hate, and all of these things. And they're concentrating on the negative stuff. And where the focus goes, the energy flows. So they end up achieving the negative stuff. Whereas just a change of words, just a change of visualization and mindset, as in, I want to be in a job that I love. I want to be in a relationship that I love. I want to be in a beautiful house, have a great car. I want to be rich. I want to be happy. Just think about that. And it's the mindset thing. 20% of people. So what I want to do, my goal is to change people's mindset by hearing my story, my journey. I want people at the end of it to start thinking more positively about what they want to achieve in life. It's as simple as that. I say it's as simple. It's a hard thing for them to do, but if they can do it, you're right, Charlotte, people will actually achieve it. And that is a lot, is the new generation. Obviously, my talks are for everybody, but the new generation, let them believe, let them say to them, yeah, why not? If they want to be a footballer, an Olympian, a vet, a surgeon, a YouTuber, yeah, why not? Maybe you will be. I don't know. You've got a whole life ahead of you. So let's think about that. Let's draw a picture about that. Let's do a vision board about that. And then you can work towards it. Then it's over to you. There's only so much I can do.
Wow. Well, for the listeners, I think you can just feel that incredible smile that I have right now on my face. Every word and bringing together that community, being inspired to inspire. And I did read the saying recently, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So bringing together these talents. But with every upside, there are also challenges. Maybe you can tell us a little bit, what were some of the biggest challenges that you did face when starting your new vision and dream, and how did you overcome them?
I think for me, I'm impatient, and I always say there's nothing wrong with impatience because you can use it to drive yourself forward. If you want something now, get on with it now, do it now. So yeah, I've got that's driving me. So when I first set up for my business, I wanted to be, you know, big speaker on the big stage, and I realized it wasn't as easy as that, especially with something like speaking. Speaking is getting into the entertainment industry, and so if you want to speak more, you've got to speak more. And that's really difficult to do, and that does mean doing the small gigs first and just building it up. The best way to get more speaking gigs is word of mouth, and so people have got to hear you. They've got to know who you are. Nobody's going to book a speaker if they've never heard of you or never heard you speak. So yeah, word of mouth. And so that really was a knockdown for me, that in, you know, a year, in 2 years, I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I knew why I wanted to do it. I'd made that decision. I'd got the buzz, the accolade. I wanted to be a big speaker. So that kept me going. And that was commitment, dedication, tenacity. These buzzwords that you hear people use, that's what you need to have in business. Because if you're just doing it to, I don't know, make money or to get likes on YouTube, or, you know, people to give you feedback, positive feedback, it's not going to last for a long time. There's got to be something deeper inside. And so my deepness comes from my frustration. I love this quote. I'm going off on one here, but the quote is, hell on earth. Hell on earth is getting to the end of your days and meeting the person that you could have become. Now, it's a bit of a twist, and some people nod and they go, okay, I get that. I think, yeah, when I get to the end of my days, the person I could have become will be the high achiever, the person that's rich and famous and stuff like that. And yes, I think when I get to the end of my days, I will have regrets. I will say, I wish I'd spent more time with my family and more time on myself, my wellness and my health and stuff like that. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So that's, you're planning to have regrets. That's what you're saying. You're saying that when you get to the end of your days, you're going to have regrets. And they go, yeah, probably. I'm like, well, why would you do that? And that's what really frustrates me, that this is how people's mindset thinks. I think, look, when I get to the end of my days, the person that I could have become will be the loser, will be the person that's fat, that's lazy, that's watched too much Netflix, that didn't do those things that they're always talking about. That will be the person that I would have done as much as I could. I'm not saying I've done everything, but I would definitely have no regrets. And that's how you should live your life. And so that's what I'm thinking about that's what drives me in my business. So it's not about, you know, earning lots of money or getting onto the big stage. It's just making sure that I've changed some people's lives so they're thinking differently. So they've got different mindsets. So they're achieving their goals, because if they achieve their goals, then I achieve my goals. And that's what keeps me going. So people in business, they've got to think why. The deep question is why are they doing this thing? Because that's what will get them out of bed every single day, because there are going to be low days. There's going to be tough days. That's life, isn't it? It's horrible. And people say failure is good, and failure is rubbish, to be honest, for me, but it's going to happen. And you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to what happens to you. And that is so true in business. And that's what makes you special. That's what will keep you going. And when you keep going, that's when you'll achieve. That's when you'll be successful. And the thing that's going to drag you through that, yeah, bit of inspiration, bit of motivation, but it's about taking action. It's about knowing why you're doing it every single day. And that's really important for me. And that's what's kept me going.
I think it's that stage of the podcast again, Charlotte, where I say, I love this. This is why we do it. So hearing this is just fantastic. It's just why we do this, to hear these stories and hear the way you flip the negative into a positive mindset with all of the thoughts you're putting out there. I think is just such a lesson for everyone to go, you know, you are what you put out there, and you can choose to be what you put out there. And in some of the stuff I've been reading online with your stuff and doing some of the research before the podcast, I think you talk about turning excuses into challenges, and this sounds like along those sort of lines. And you know, having been a sales manager and sales director and managed lots of different people, you get a lot of procrastination. So how do you flip that into again into the positive? How do you work with people that have those excuses? I mean, I think we all could do it, couldn't we? We all could procrastinate and put barriers in front of ourselves to stop ourselves doing it, and that's probably the person we meet at the end, isn't it, potentially? But how do you use that to flip round with other people and make them see the positives?
Yeah, you're right, Max. You know, one of my favorite quotes is my own, and that is, don't lean on your excuses, turn your excuses into challenges. There's excuses out there all the time, and some of us use it and some of us aren't aware that we're using it. A classic example is somebody might say, I'm going to go for a run tonight, and then it gets to tonight and it starts raining and they go, oh, I can't run now because it's raining. Now, that to me is an excuse. You can put a coat on, you can go out, you can get wet and stuff like that. If you've got broken legs, maybe that's a little bit different. That's not an excuse, that's a fact. So make sure you split the difference between a fact or an excuse. But some people, they don't realize that, and they lean on their excuses. And that really winds me up. Again, I'm going to use the word frustration, because if they don't want to do it, don't do it. You know, if you don't want to go for a run, just say, I don't want to go for a run. As simple as that. It's all right. I'm just going to like tell you off or anything. But they say, no, I do want to go for a run, but it's raining. You think, no, you clearly don't. So it's very much about, you know, the try word. You know, I don't use the word try. I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. It's like if you said, look, we're going to meet up for drinks tonight at 7 o'clock. Are you coming? And someone says, yeah, I'll try and be there on time. Well, what does that mean? What do you mean you're going to try and be there on time? You either are or you aren't. You might be late, you might be early, but to say that you're going to try and be there on time, that's no commitment. I don't trust that person is going to turn up at all. And people say that all the time. Oh, I'd like to do this. Maybe I could do that. Potentially I could do. Oh my gosh, stop using these little words that are giving you like a get out clause. And so that, you know, it's about thinking about what words you're using and your mindset, and just being positive about what you do want to do and what you don't want to do. And don't lean on your excuses. Turn those excuses into a challenge. It's not easy. I get it's not easy. Life isn't easy. Running a business isn't easy. But this is what you've got to realize, that it's a challenge, and go for it if that's what you really want. And that takes it all the way back to, so what do you want? You know, what is your goal? I use the word goal as an acronym, GOLD, which is your goal, your opportunity, your love, your dream. What is that thing that you really want, passionately want, that thing that will get you out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, that thing that does excite you, that thing that you are a little bit embarrassed to share with other people because it's a crazy idea, but it's something that you really want. What is that thing, and why do you want it? Because that's the thing that will keep you going. You know, I think there's a really nice quote that, you know, to succeed, the fire inside has to burn brighter than the fire outside. There's loads of things that will distract you, that pull you apart, that pull you away from your goals. But if you've got something inside you, your burning desire inside, that's the thing that will keep you going. So what is that thing? And that's what you've got to keep fueling by visualizing it, by thinking about what that is and drawing a picture, whatever, just go for it. And so that's what you need to do.
Wonderful. Steve, and also about the goal setting, you did talk about a vision board earlier, so maybe you could also elaborate on this a little bit in terms of the vision board.
Yeah. The vision it comes to me from my story. So let me whiz through this. When I was in hospital, I was told that I may never walk again. I needed something positive. Again, I needed to be the 20% that focus on something I wanted to achieve. I drew a picture of me standing again, walking again up a mountain, and that excited me. I was still in bed at the time with both my legs crushed, but that picture made me smile. I thought, I want that. What do I have to do to get to that picture? What rehabilitation, what physio do I have to do? A year and a half later, you know, I was doing it. I was standing and I was walking again. It worked. I didn't realize then I was opening up to my RAS, my reticular activating system, that when you see something, you visualize something, you can work towards it, you see those opportunities. I did a similar thing when I wanted to become a world champion. I drew a picture. I just drew a picture of me crossing the finish line in my GB kit with the crowd going crazy, grabbing that gold medal, big smile on my face. And when I saw that picture, I got excited. My brain kind of thought it was real. And it's like, what do I have to do to make that picture reality? You have to train hard, swim, bike, run. You have to do like endurance, you have to speed, you have to do strength and conditioning. Okay, I'll do it because I want that picture to become reality. And now I do the same in my business. Initially, I drew a picture of me standing on the big stage with the big audience, the big stage and the big lights, and one of those head mics that Madonna made really famous. And that excited me again. And I really wanted to achieve that. So now you're right, Charlotte. I've got a vision board here, all that I want to achieve. As an international speaker, I want to do more international speaking. It's my big thing. Is I've got a 2-year plan at the moment. My daughter's going to be 18 in like 2 years. She'll probably go to university. I will be home alone. And I can do whatever I want. I'll be free. I can rent this house out and I can travel and I can speak and travel and I can speak in Asia, in America, in Spain, in Mexico, in Japan. You know, there's certain goals that I've got, but generally to be more international. So I'm always looking for those opportunities. Again, coming onto this podcast is one of those opportunities that I've grabbed. There's other opportunities that I'm reaching out to with agencies and all sorts. But the vision is so important, whether it's drawing a picture which I do a lot. I'm not a good drawer. I just stick people sometimes, but it's getting what's inside my head out. And I would encourage anybody, you don't need a business plan. You don't need an Excel spreadsheet or business coach initially. You just need to get that picture. What is that picture? Get a piece of paper, get a pen, pencil, draw it. You alive, smiley face. What are you doing? What's making you happy? Is it a car? Is it fitness? Is it just draw something? Now, once you've drawn the picture, then that's when you need your golden gang. That's when you need the people to actually help you. And that might be a business coach. That might be a website guy. It might be just people that will take you on your journey. But first of all, just know what you want. Get that vision and just draw that picture.
I think it's something we need to do, isn't it, Sean?
Absolutely. And Steve, just to continue on that thought, you have received numerous amount of awards as a motivational speaker. So what qualities do you believe are essential for someone looking to excel in that field?
Oh my goodness. Feedback. Feedback is the main thing. So I learned this with my swimming coach, that it's not practice makes perfect, which is crazy, because I was doing a lot of swimming up and down, but I was doing it wrong. So I was practicing the same thing in the wrong way, just getting, not getting any better. But once I got some training from the coach of how to lift my elbow, how to reach long, pull strong, how to do the swimming, then I could get better and better at doing that. It's the same with speaking. I know we all do speaking and we think it's a natural thing, but if you want to be a professional speaker, it's different. And I set off, on the wrong path initially, but I joined this thing called the Professional Speakers Association. It's an association full of speakers, and you speak there, and everybody's so nice and kind, and they said, Steve, you've got an amazing story. You're a lovely guy, but can I just give you some feedback? And I was like, yes, please, because I realized that this feedback made me better and better and better, and I suddenly became really hungry for this feedback, even if I thought I did a really good presentation. And lots of people say, wow, you're amazing, that was so good, so inspiring. I need to find somebody in that audience that can give me something more than that. If I want to get better, is it being hungry for that. I will watch myself back on the video. I will think about it as I'm driving home, and I will be critical on myself, not in a negative way, but as in a continuous improvement way. What can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do to be better, to be one of the best speakers in the UK and the world, to make it more memorable, to get that message, to give the takeaways to the audience. It's all about the audience. If they're not inspired and motivated, they're not going to take action after I've spoken, then I feel that I failed. And that sounds really harsh, but if I can only amuse them, make them laugh and inspire and motivate, that's not enough. I really want them to go home and start doing something and taking action. And when I do get messages from people that say that they've done that, I'll go, great, job done. That's brilliant. Give me another audience. So the feedback is really, really important. And other people need to realize that as well, if they want to continuously improve. And why would you not? If you don't want to continuously improve, then I always question that. It's like, are you happy or content? Are you happy in life, or are you content in life, or neither, or both, or one or the other? For me, people can think about the answer themselves, but for me, I'm very happy in what I do. I'm living the dream. I'm smiling all the time, but at no point am I content. I'm not content. There's so many more things that I want to do in my life. I've just turned 51. I feel like I'm halfway. So what more can I do in the second half of my life? I've done books, I've done speaking, I've done world champion, grown my leg back, for crying out loud. But what I've got coming up, documentary, feature-length film, maybe other things as well. So it's always thinking about what more can I do? And I would like other people to think about that and not flatline through life. If they're saying they're content, I'm like, really? So you don't want anything else in your life? Your health is good, your wealth, you don't want any more money, you don't want any more friends, you don't want any more holidays or experiences, you don't want to travel? Really? Seriously? Wow. Okay, well, good for you. You've made it. But I would question that. But yeah, and why would they not be truthful to themselves? So I think it's a very valuable question. Are you happy or content?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I think, and it actually comes to me, it makes me think about the term motivational in the first place, because I've always thought that motivation will only get you so far. So a motivational speaker motivating people on stage is maybe inspiring them or motivating to do something, but the action of that, when they go into that action, they actually need to have more than that, something deeper, as you say, to actually take them to their goal. So motivation is the start of it, but I found having people around me, I think you refer to it as a golden gang,
Yep.
but I've heard of it as mastermind groups, or just, your friends around you, your peers, your some of the 5 people around you. I think that's so important to not just drive you, not just motivate you. I don't necessarily want to be driven to do something. I want to be beyond that, to actually have that objective, that what's next. So I love what you're saying about how you're never content. I'm the same with that. I don't like comfort zones. As soon as you're in a comfort zone, it's you're what's going to go wrong. I'd rather know, well, what's the next thing I'm striving for. So I think that's the motivational part of it. But having that golden gang, having that kind of beyond motivation, how do you what's your take on that, really, to kind of push forward beyond motivation?
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the Golden Gang. I like it. A lot of other people like it. They can relate to it. And it is called other things like your tribe or your friends and things like that. But I think that's still within that. Your Golden Gang is all the people. So obviously I had my Golden Gang, the amazing NHS that helped save my life and rehabilitation. They were my Golden Gang: doctors, nurses, surgeons, admin, friends, family. As an elite athlete, you can imagine the amount of coaches that I had to get me to that point, to cross the finish line, to grab the gold medal. And in my business, my Golden Gang, I collected them over time, and that's really nice, from friends and family initially, but then more so like the website. I have my accountant, my business coach Rob Pickering, I have a stylist, I have a tailor, hairdresser, which sounds really exotic and everything like that, but it's just these little people that build up the whole gang. I do have a mastermind group as well, which is a group of us, 5 other speakers, and we all share about what we're going through. But then there's more people, whether it's a virtual PA and things like that. But I realized that I needed another part of my Golden Gang. So a couple of months ago, I was going through some really bad mental health issues, and I ended up in hospital because of that. And I had to take restock of my life and what I was going through. And what I was doing, to cut a long story short, was I wasn't talking enough. Who'd have thought, as a speaker? But I wasn't opening up enough. I was talking to people, but breezing over. Oh, my relationship's okay, how's yours? Oh, my business is okay, how's it? It's not brilliant, but it could pick up. And my finances, yeah, let's talk about something else. And so I was quashing everything down, and I've ended up in hospital. So the realization is that I now need to find more members of my Golden Gang that I can open up to, somebody who I can talk about relationship issues to, somebody who I can talk about, how I'm feeling physically, and somebody I can be really open and honest. I'll even use the word vulnerable, which is quite hard for me, but I've found through therapy, through counseling, that I need to use the word vulnerable and be more vulnerable, because that's where I'm going to get help. And if I share and be open with other people, eventually I find the right people. So I was speaking to one of my mates about the DIY jobs around the house, and how I was procrastinating, and he was helping me with that. And that was great. But he was absolutely rubbish when I was talking about my relationship issues. Okay, I thought, okay, fair enough, you're not the right person for that. Whereas my female friend, she was really good, really supportive, and she was able to help me with my relationship issues. So it's finding the right people, but knowing that you need to find those people. And again, your Golden Gang grows. Now, if you wanted to take this even further, you start thinking about, who do you want on your Golden Gang in the future? If you could have anybody in the world, a business guru, a health fanatic, a dietitian, or a masseur, who would you want? And just put them on your vision board, or write their names out, or Google them, or find them on LinkedIn. And maybe you can't afford them at the moment, or maybe you don't even know who they are, or maybe they just need training or something like that. But just think about it, because sometimes it's nice to play these fun games, a bit like Monopoly, isn't it? About what you really want, who you really want in your Golden Gang. And once you know who you want, you know how the magic happens. You visualize it, you see those opportunities, you bump into something similar to like that at a network meeting, you go, oh my gosh, so you're a dietitian, tell me more. Let's have a talk about this. Maybe we could collaborate, maybe we could work together. Maybe you're earning more money now, you can afford to have them. But it's really nice to know who you've got in your Golden, who you appreciate, and who you want in your Golden Gang in the future. Make it fun.
Steve, thank you so much for sharing. And just to continue from that, what are some of the common pitfalls that you see with inspiring entrepreneurs that they would fall into? And maybe you could share, what advice would you give to them to avoid these pitfalls?
Oh my gosh. I don't think you can avoid them. So the one that springs to mind is impatience. I think a lot of people set off in business, and they've got big dreams, and that's great. I believe in big dreams. But after like 3 months, they're like, oh, it's not working. Or 6 months, oh, it's not working. Oh, maybe I should try something else. Or maybe try a different thing, or you just think, no, just keep going. You've got to keep going. I mentioned this earlier in the podcast. It's that tenacity, it's that commitment, it's that dedication, it's that obsession. I don't believe that some of these words are negative. People see the word obsession as a really bad thing. I'm like, no, sorry, if that's what you really want and you really believe, if you're obsessed with helping people, how can that be a bad thing? But that's how you've got to have that mindset that you do anything and everything to make it happen, that you keep going. And yeah, you've got to like balance it out sometimes, but you've got to drag yourself through those tough times, because the good times will be coming, and you've got to believe in it, in yourself. And so I think that is a pitfall that a lot of people don't manage, and I don't think you can avoid them. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You've got to be ready for it. And when it hits, you go, oh, this is one of those pitfalls that Steve mentioned. Right, I've got to drag myself through this. I've got to keep positive, keep going. Maybe reach out to your golden gang and say, look, I'm struggling. Any advice? And they go, yes, I've got some advice. Keep going, etc., etc. But yeah, use the people around you, use the resources around you. Again, remind yourself on the vision board about why on earth are you doing this? Why are you, pushing yourself? And I did that, twisting nuts and bolts on my cage to lengthen my leg. That was painful. I questioned many times, why am I doing this? To stand again, to walk again, getting up at 5 and jumping in or diving into a cold swimming pool. Why was I doing that? Because I wanted to be a world champion. And why am I doing my admin work late at night or early in the morning? The boring stuff when running a business. I want to be on the stage. I want to be performing. That's what I want to be doing. So why am I sat in front of a computer screen? Because I want to help people and I want to empower them to achieve the life that they want to live. Oh yes, I remember now. I'll keep doing it then, and that will drag me through those dark times. So yeah, impatience it's a bad thing, but you can still use it to your advantage.
I get it completely. I think it's again, it's beyond that motivation. That's the bit that will start you, and then it's that perseverance and that resilience. And I get that through all of the things you talk about. Yes, you come across as extremely positive, and you're putting that those positive thoughts out there. But as we all know, it's never plain sailing. Certainly in your story, it's not been plain sailing at all. There's been some huge challenges you've overcome, and all of us on the call have had our own personal challenges to get through and overcome. So I do see that there's a lot of perseverance and resilience in this as well, in the story. So I think if we're talking about those kind of how we get through when you're in those challenging times, and I know you mentioned you've had some difficulties in the last few months as well. So, how do you keep your eye on the prize when you're in those challenging times when things aren't as positive, perhaps?
I think it comes down to resilience, the word that you mentioned, and that was a buzzword that you used during the pandemic. And people said to me, "Oh, it's all about resilience." And some people said, "What is resilience?" I said, "Oh, I know the answer to this because I've been through it." So I had to take myself out, and I came up with this concept of the wave of resilience. So let me just go through it. That when something happens, when you have adversity or challenge or change, initially you go into denial. You go, surely this can't be happening. I don't believe it. And it's kind of like a peak. And then you suddenly realize that, oh, it is happening. And that drags you down. And as you go down, you will be angry. Allow yourself to be angry. In fact, you control yourself to be angry. So what does that mean? I don't know. Go to the gym, do some gardening, scream, shout. Just use that anger. Just get it out there. Because if you don't, it will fester and it will come back. Now, after anger is the sharing. You need to share. Talk to somebody about it. Talk to your partner, your friends, your family, your mastermind group, your golden gang. Or if you're uncomfortable about that, then start journaling. Start reading poetry. Listen to song lyrics so that you can share what you're going through. Because you need to share. Again, if you don't do it, it will fester. It will catch up with you later on. Now, whatever you do, you will eventually hit rock bottom. Now, rock bottom is a dark place. And it can be like sulking, but it can also be depression. And how long you stay in this period depends on how you've controlled the anger and the sharing that dragged you down to that point. But the good stuff is coming. So after the rock bottom, eventually you will accept the situation. And once you accept the situation, you can do something about it. And that's a really positive. The serotonin kicks in, the dopamine, you start taking action, and that will start lifting you up. And as you take action, you get more dopamine release and you start moving forward. And the whole point is this wave of resilience, knowing where you are on this wave, knowing that it's okay to be angry, be angry. You need to share more, share more. You're at rock bottom. Just wallow, just accept it. Have a day in bed or whatever. Eat chocolate cake, whatever you need to do to get yourself through it. But realize that, you will be coming out at the end at some point, but only you can decide when. Are Are you going to come out of it now? Are you still sulking? Yeah, I'm still sulking. Okay, let's sulk a little bit more. But eventually you'll come out. Now, the whole point is eventually you come up the other side and you get to a higher plane than where you started, meaning that by going through the wave of resilience, going through adversity, change, all of this stuff is a good thing. It's pushing yourself out of that comfort zone as long as you control it, and you can control it. It's about controlling the controllables. And when it comes to yourself, you can do that. So riding the wave of resilience to become a winner is what I talk about. It's one of my keynotes as well. And I've done a few blogs on this. And it really helps people to understand what they're going through and what they need to do to take themselves through it all the way and come out the other side.
Yeah, Steve, I can very much resonate with this, and the experiencing rock bottom and then going and then finding your way back up.
Yeah.
I think that is just a journey, and everyone, and it's so individualized. We can guide everyone through it, but of course there is no right and wrong.
No.
But on another point, as a successful author, and I saw your great book, what advice would you give to young professionals looking to share their own stories or experience through writing?
Okay. Yes, that's a good question. One thing I'd say is, once you decide what kind of book you want to write, business book, autobiography, or whatever it might be, just find some other books out there that are similar to what you want to write and start reading those. You don't have to read the whole thing, but just get a flavor. You will write your own book. I get that. And that's the lovely thing about writing your own book. It's your book. You can write it however you want. You can be creative. You can put, my first book, my autobiography, has got poems in, it's got photos in, it's got diary entries in, it's got a song playlist for the journey. It's my book. I can do what I want. You can do the same with yours. Your chapters can be 1 page long. It can be from front to back. It can be upside down. Whatever you think will represent you. And that's the thing. So you will get inspiration from other people's books, but obviously make sure that you understand what you really want out of the book. The other thing I'd say is to just start writing. I heard this really good idea that somebody was, wanted to write a book. They didn't know where to start. And somebody said, well, why don't you just write a blog every month? And they were, okay, I can do that. So they wrote a blog every month. By the end of the year, they had 12 chapters. And, with a bit of editing, squeezing them together, that's a book. So just by starting to write, whether it's a newsletter, a blog, maybe even a social media post, you can start getting it out there, because writing is a very creative thing. And you do get better and better the more you do it. I certainly did. But also, that was one of my Golden Gang members, was I started writing and I realized that I was very much a fish out of water. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had some text, but I then got involved or connected with a book coach who helped me. They held my hand through it. They helped me with the punctuation, the spelling, the publishing, the design, the everything to do with the book. And yes, it was an investment, but that book was representing me. And I wanted to make sure that it was professional, that, it was really, really good. And did that for my first book and did very similar with a different publisher for my second book. And I'm really proud of the books that I've got. So that's what I would suggest anybody who's thinking of writing their own book, do those things.
Certainly something I'd love to do as well. So that's great advice for all of our listeners, and I think anyone that's looking to do that. I think I've heard the quote before that everyone's got at least one book in them. So I think it's how they get that out. And I think writing a blog post is a really good way of doing it. It's a way of chunking things down, isn't it, and actually getting through that work. There's been so many great insights in this podcast, Steve. I've absolutely loved this, and I'm sure Charlotte has as well. Just as the last question, any other sort of real key takeaways for our listeners? I think there's so much inspiration in this anyway, but just some final thoughts, key takeaways. Anything else you can leave our listeners with for that final piece of inspiration?
I think it's just repeating what I've already said about, working out what your goal is. Another classic example, everybody says that there's a book inside everybody. If you want to write a book, then write a book. Don't lean on your excuses. Just start. You can open a document on your computer and you can start typing. It doesn't matter if you don't know what the title is. Just do something. If that's what you want to. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And just think about what that thing is that will drive you. And I know it's not easy for everybody. I ask a lot of people, I say, no, what's your goal? And they say, I don't really know what my goal is. I haven't really got any goals. And I just think, yes, you have. Everybody's got a goal. And they go, no. So it's about what you call it sometimes. I used to do this exercise with my kids every new year. So, you know, what are your goals for the new year? And they were like 8 and 10 years old. I said, Dad, we don't know what our goals are. So I changed the wording to saying, what do you want to do this year? Oh, we want to go swimming more. We'll have more picnics more. We want to go on holiday. We want to go out cycling more. I said, well, to me, they're goals. So just write those things down and then we can work towards those. So sometimes it is just rewording it and say, what do you want to do this year? What do you want to do in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be with? How do you want to feel, I guess? And those, I would say, are goals. And that will start helping you think about what you want, what your goal is. Because once you know what that is, oh my gosh, then the journey starts. And that's a really nice place to go. This is what I talk about with my workshops, is like giving them the 5 winning ways to actually work towards it. Your golden vision is the main thing. What on earth do you want? After that, your golden soul, that's the why do you want it. Your golden gear, all the things that you need to do to achieve that. What more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? The fourth one is your golden gang. Who do you need to help you on that journey? And the last one is your golden hour. I mean, you need to put a deadline. I hate deadlines, but they do work. So, and it could be a 5 year. Think way in the future. 5 years. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Okay, you got that. So where do you need to be in 4 years to achieve that? Where do you need to be in 3 years, 2 years? Where do you need to be at the end of this year to achieve your 5 year goal? End of this month, this week, today, at the end of this podcast, what action do you need to take that will take you towards that 5 year goal? And once you start doing that, that's exciting. That every day you're doing something to work towards the thing that you really want, your goal. So that would be my advice.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Steve. It's been a fantastic podcast. Please do share, once we post this out, the links so people can access your books, the workshops. I'm sure all of our listeners would love to know more about how they can access more of your materials and hear more about this. I know I certainly would. So, Charlotte, any last words from you?
I have to say, Steve, you are so inspirational. I think we need a second podcast with you following on from this. And I think definitely giving others advice how to start with a vision board.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, if your listeners have got questions, if they want to send them in, then we can piece them all together and maybe we can do a podcast just on answering all those questions. How about that? That'd be great.
Thank you so much for your time, Steve. You are brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, Steve.
Okay, thanks a lot. Cheers.